I love Hong Kong. I think I would never move out. The pace, I love the people. When I was parking just now, two guys like came out and they were like, okay, you're okay now, turn left, turn right. Okay, just straighten. Yay, great courage. And I was like, thank you so much. Hong Kong spirit. And my career that I said maybe I should just stop. At this age, everything 我哋都睇透啦, you know, nothing can really kind of get
成日做冇空間去尋找自己。
I must say that being in this industry is probably one of the hardest things I've had to endure. As someone who takes comments about myself quite personally, you know, I've definitely had moments where I thought, you know, no one likes me. Why am I even doing entertainment when I'm not entertaining anyone? When people, you know, seem to kind of pick at me at every turn. And then it got to a point when people would talk about my family, and that's when I really drew the line and said, if what I do is affecting my family, but they're not the ones who have, you know, chosen to be in this industry, then why should they be picked on or talked about? And then there was a moment in my career that I said maybe I should just stop. Like at least take myself or pull myself out of the limelight so that they didn't have to get affected as well. But you know, when times are tough, that really is the time to show whether or not, you know, the people around you really love you and can see that this is something you want to do. I think my parents have always known that I love my job if it weren't for these comments. So they were the first people who said, we don't care, like don't even, you know, be worried about how we feel because those comments don't bother us. You know, at this age, everything 我哋都睇透啦, you know, nothing can really kind of get to us. So I knew that they were okay. So if they were okay, like who am I to say I'm not tough enough to stand firm and get through this? There are still days when, you know, I'll be on Instagram scrolling and someone will say something mean and then I'll just go, was that necessary? But then you learn to filter out the mean-spirited ones.
Yes.
And you learn to go, you know, maybe these people were just maybe having a bad day and they just need to vent out on someone and I happen to be the person that they first saw and just kind of let it go that way. In my childhood, I would say that my parents really tried their best to give us a very happy upbringing because we were brought up in Canada, very free lifestyle. Like you said, people in Hong Kong have that very like stressful, like you gotta study, you gotta get good grades. Whereas in Canada, it's more about like, hey, go out, enjoy the world, you know, reinvent yourself, think for yourself. So in that sense, I would say I had especially a big privilege growing up being in that very blessed environment, which is kind of what I'm hoping to give my kids in Hong Kong. It's a little bit hard because, like you mentioned earlier, sometimes it's the people around you who kind of push you to be competitive. Your parent tells me like, oh, you didn't enroll in like 4 to 5 schools for your kids, and I'm like, no, and it's like, you should do that. And then I'll think like, maybe I'm not being a good parent, maybe I should do that too. So it's moments like these that I have to like control myself and be like, don't give your kids pressure because you never had that, and look, you know, you had happy upbringing, so they deserve that as well. I love Hong Kong. I don't think I would ever move out unless absolutely necessary. I love the pace, I love the people. When I was parking just now, I was like struggling to get into my parking space, and then two guys like came out and they were like, okay, you're okay now, turn left, turn right. Okay, just straighten. Yay, great job. And I felt so encouraged. And I was like, thank you so much. Hong Kong spirit. I have to say, I think being in this is actually my 10th year in this industry. So with, you know, I've tried hosting and then I did acting, which I wasn't great at, and then I did content creating. So I feel that actually the way my career has kind of, you know, gone down wasn't anything planned. It was kind of like go with the flow. The world is changing. We had COVID. We're stuck at home. Let's do something. Let's make videos. And that happened. So I think I will just go with the flow. Honestly, like as cheesy as it sounds, I will see what God has in plan for me. If maybe the plan is to go on a mission trip, then I'm just gonna go in my ears and see when He's telling me what to do. And I think that's the best way to go. I think don't have super high expectations. I think it's good to have a goal and to try to achieve that goal, but when you set your expectations too high, I feel like even when you meet it, you kind of slightly give yourself, I don't think I did good enough, I don't think I did well enough, and I think this constant, you know, talking to yourself negatively is also going to kind of pull you down. So I think just don't have too high expectations. Do your best, you know, that's kind of what I tell my kids when they've done something. I'm like, you tried your best, you didn't get number 1, it's okay. And I hope that as a mom I can, you know, be a role model to that and live that out so that they can too. Sure, yeah, like go for it. I mean, I think with every experience, whether you win or lose, whether get to further that or it stops and it doesn't work out, it's still a game. You know what I mean? Because an experience is an experience, and I think you can learn what went wrong and then do better next time, or you can say, hey, this is not for me, and then you could just go on to something else. I think anywhere that always tries to improve itself and tries to grow, as you can see, Hong Kong is different every year, right? Like when I used to come back in the summer, I would say, oh my gosh, things have changed again, the roads have changed, you know, where we go, the places we've changed, the restaurants have changed, everything turns over very quickly. And I think in a way, yes, you could deem that as a negative thing, like, it's too quick. But at the same time, it just means that the people just want to progress. And I think a progressive city is a city that wants to change and wants to grow and is trying to be hopeful. Given COVID happening, and that was so stressful for everyone, you can see how the city is bouncing back so quickly. You know, so I think in a way that does give me hope, and I think that's why I'm still quite keen on my kids growing up here, be it that I grew up in Canada. And I think, you know, all I can say is that as a parent, I really hope to give them an environment that they feel like motivated and want to kind of bounce out and be able to find their way and find their path.
So personally speaking, what is your own purpose of life? What's your hope?
That's a big question. I would say the purpose of life right now is to inspire my children to love God. And I do feel that it's harder now because of what we mentioned, digital age, everything being online. We start getting critical, we start thinking like scientifically, and we don't really have faith anymore. We want to believe in ourselves. And I think it's hard, but Christ in itself, I think, is something that's like unexplainable and unfathomable. Like you can't explain why Christ exists, but you believe, right? You don't know why the Bible is something that everyone somehow listens to, but it is true, you know? So I kind of want to inspire my children to grow up with Christ. I think they will probably go through an age in their life or a stage where they feel that I'm not as connected, or I don't want to go to church anymore, I want to go with my friends, I want to sleep in on Sundays. But hopefully like that will be their time of discovery, right? And I think then afterwards their faith will be even stronger because of it.
Yeah, I'm just curious about your own faith journey.
Yeah.
How did you come to Christ?
When I moved to Canada, I had two friends from my mom. Like my mom had some friends, and then their daughters and I were friends. And then one day when I was 7 years old, one of the girls just invited me to church. And I thought, you know, you just want to hang out with your friends. And they said, you know, you can play games at Sunday
Kids
school.
club.
Kids club. There's stickers. I love stickers. I collected stickers. And then, yeah, that was all it took. So I went, and then the environment was just so inviting and warm. And I started asking my mom to go. She was Buddhist back then. But she thought, like, maybe I can go in and, like, bring someone to Buddhism. It was so funny. She was like, she had that mindset of, like, I'm going to come into your church and lure you back into my church. But anyway, so that was her mindset. But she went, and she was so humbled by the experience. You know, she saw pastors picking up garbage for people. She thought, you know, she saw everyone being equal, and she thought, wow, like, this is kind of a nice place. Like, now I want to learn a little bit more. So her story and journey, I feel like, is even more interesting because she was a Buddhist for so long, and she, you know, came to Christ. Whereas mine, I feel like I had the blessing of knowing Christ when I was young, and then just being able to have him with me through, you know, my life.
So the sentence starts with, you will never be the same if.
You will never be the same if you learn to show compassion to someone else.
I love it.
So, yeah, I mean, just very simply, I feel like compassion is something that we can all achieve and do. It doesn't cost anything, but somehow it's so hard for people to understand that. If people showed more compassion to the person beside them, they wouldn't judge them, they wouldn't say bad things about them. Like Sunday's sermon, we wouldn't gossip about them, right? Compassion goes a long way. If you see someone being mean to you or rude to you, if you show compassion, the first reaction wouldn't be like, oh, well, blah, 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 I'm talking back to them, and going, wait, you know, maybe they are going through something, maybe they're insecure, and maybe they just want to bring you down to feel bad with them. But showing compassion could be, hey, is everything okay? Like, why did you have to react that way, or why did you have to feel that way? So I think that could be life-changing if everyone was able to just step into that person's shoe and show compassion. Probably children's ministry, because right now I super respect and thank you everyone at children's ministry who takes care of my kids on Sunday so that I could worship and, you know, listen to the sermon. Or sometimes I'm at work, but my helper still tries to help me bring the kids over, and I'm very, very much like I just thank so much this team to help me like have that 2 hours, you know, of daycare for me, and also it's a great learning environment for them as well. since going to Sunday school, would come home and go, Mom, I want to pray before I sleep. Mom, I want to pray before I eat. And I'm almost ashamed because I wasn't the one who suggested it. Like, they were the ones who came to me and said, like, I want to do this. And I said, sure. So, yeah, your kids inspire you. Thank you, first of all, for giving me an opportunity. Like you mentioned, like, I don't talk about my faith as much as I wish and hope to. I don't think there's any fear with, how I'm perceived. People know I'm Christian, people know I love Christ. I'm always in this mindset, maybe it's this generational mindset that goes, if I'm too pushy about my religion or my faith, people are less inclined to listen to me. We live in a world where we feel that people don't want to be told what to do or what to believe. But sometimes, you shouldn't let that stop you from, reaching out to other people, be it just someone hurting and saying, oh, is it okay if I pray for you? Like, I always say, I've never heard someone say no to someone who goes, can I pray for you when you're hurting? Even if that person never believed in God, never heard of God, they will say thank you because they know that's you extending your love for them, right? So I always try to remind myself, don't be fearful, express your faith and let people know because it's something that you should be absolutely proud of.
鍾意我哋嘅影片就快啲撳訂閱啦！